in 92, 93 degrees. This is so much more pleasant.
Yeah, the one thing I watched though is the breeze, and it's something that in the first game we had on this ground, Aaron Jones, Sammy Hassan did very well, hitting with that wind, and then just allowing the ball to just carry with that strong breeze. Abdullah Saeed though, very powerful, especially in these smaller tournaments. He's really caused some destruction. 61 yesterday and just 30 balls, so he's going to be one that you want to dismiss very early.
A real powerful striker of the ball. Seen him play for several years, but just watching him warm up in front of us a couple, maybe 30 or so minutes ago, just the defensive strokes alone have that ball bouncing off of the bat with such ferocity. So when he gets it right and when he's on, there's no more destructive batter in the minor league system or in tournaments such as this. And it goes in the air, going to be over the top of mid-on. Didn't really make the contact that he wanted to. And I think good work by mid-on fielder to run back and limit the damage. He, in fact, saved one run. So more of a moral victory than anything else, because 3 runs on the board. Didn't really time that one properly, Nikhil.
Yeah, still good running, though, to get back for 3. And
looking at the replay, that's a good piece of work by that fielder running back from mid-on. That's not easy. It's a long chase, and they did the hard work. Athletic piece of fielding to flick it back. You know, you saved 1 run, but the psychological impact of not giving up a boundary is a pretty important piece of work.
well, if you're now joining us for the first time today, 4 matches happening at one time here in the Atlanta Open. Sam Army up against Legends. The Macon Bulls taking on the Stallions. The Stallions' second team taking on the Raiders. So a lot of action happening along with this matchup as well.
Just the array of talent around the ground, Nikhil, is something to behold. Saw Muhammad Irfan earlier. Always known that he was tall. Seeing him up close makes all the difference in the world. My estimate would be around 7 feet tall, would you say?
Yeah, definitely, and one of the tallest in the game. Got to see that quality joining us here in the tournament as well. 4 more.
Cannot bowl there. Too short, going down the leg side. Really, the line, as much as the length was a problem there, slanted down to the leg side and just helped around the corner. Fine leg inside the circle. That is just an absolutely unforgivable sin. Cannot bowl that line. I like the left arm over idea, but if you're going to bowl left arm over, it has to be across the batter. It has to be slanted across him going towards the slips. If you get it any straighter than that, you're going to go for runs.
So the first wicket going, the boundary being scored. Looking at the other game, the first wicket going down there. The Stallions up against the Raiders. But tons of action. What an upset it would be, though, if this square drive team, getting some extra bounce, if they could go from conceding 320 yesterday, Brian, to now winning a game against the Tigers, who made 250 in their game, that would be some turnaround and would make this group very interesting and still give a chance to the likes of RDU Army.
It certainly would. And, you know, you could make the argument that they have nowhere to go but up after yesterday. They got properly slapped around. You know, not often will you see a team concede 300 runs in a T20 match, but they would have learned from those mistakes, you would think. And this is lofted high and deep and 6. That is the first 6 of the day. That ball took forever to come down. It came down with ice on it probably. That 6 takes the score to 23. After 2, the score is 3 without loss.
Yeah, these 2 openers dangerous for the Bangladesh Tigers, and with that maximum, a good end to the over. Back here live at the Atlanta Cricket Fields, 23 after the first 2 overs. Harpreet Singh was dominant in the minor league, where he played for the Sokia Lashings. but is a very powerful hitter and striker of the cricket ball.
Maripati back into his action, and this goes away for 4. A moral victory for Maripati, as that angle from around the wicket to the right is still working for him on this occasion, though thick outside edge, and runs away to third for 4. But I think he's going to be much more successful from this angle, bowling around the wicket, slanting it across the 2 right-handers, as opposed to spearing it into. Always dangerous to do with the inside the power play. So often running here, the Bangladeshi Tigers are all of a sudden scoring runs at will. Stroked right back to Maripati himself. He does well to prevent it from getting by. He concedes a single, but effectively he saved 3 runs, because had that gotten by him, I'm pretty sure it would have split the gap between mid-off and long on and run away for 4. So you'll take that moral victory of having prevented those additional runs. His right hand won't feel very good, though.
So just getting some treatment to that hand.
Boy.
What a day of cricket we've seen, though. Plenty of high scores. Second day of this Atlanta Open 2022 edition.
Nikhil, there are a lot of star-studded teams. There's all kinds of talent on display. From what you've seen, as long as you've been watching cricket and as long as you've observed this tournament, which team do you think is the one that stands whether head and shoulders above or just a nose ahead? Which team do you think is the team to beat in this tournament?
I think maybe the Atlanta Fire, given their home advantage and the fact that they know conditions well. They didn't even utilize Rakim Cornwall and still won today in terms of with the bat in hand. But then you can't forget, teams like the Bangladesh Tigers themselves, who posted 250 runs, or the Param side looking very strong. Have chased 2 now. Another Atlanta team, they've chased 2, twice, and yesterday chased down 194, today 202, and brushed it off with 3 overs and some to spare.
Wow.
So if that's anything to go by, they're one to watch out for.
Wow. Continuing, just a dab behind point. Oh, so much talent on display. Mentioned earlier that several of the names that are being talked about in this tournament only a week or so ago were playing in the CPL in the Caribbean. And there's just a tremendous amount of energy, tremendous amount of just, you like seeing everything that you're seeing on display here. Abdullah Syed taking some time to get settled. 6 from 4, make that 6 from 5. Harpreet Singh 22 from 11. So they both are stroke makers, and you expect that they both can get going and even go at a more aggressive rate than they're going right now. But this angle around the wicket is working. It's a half-hearted appeal for LBW. Not much chance for that being given out, I think, from around the wicket. Pretty sure that would have pitched outside leg. Hard to give an LBW shout to right-handed bowler bowling around the wicket to a right-handed batter. But ultimately another bat ball. So this is a really good spell of bowling by Maripati ever since he made the switch to going around the wicket to the righties. And yet another dot ball as this is fired in. Not able to make contact with it. And so a really economical over. Really has to be said. Good bowling here by Maripati. After 2, scores 29 without loss.
3 overs done, and that's it. 29 without loss, and another strong start for the Bangladesh Tigers after they scored 250 yesterday in a 20-over game. They'll be looking for more of that.
Tremendous. Ball goes back to young Baron Saimanta. Storm over the wicket, bowling to Harpreet Singh. Oh, almost a premeditated swipe across the line there, targeting that area over mid-wicket. Wants to take the attack to the youngster. But again, that angle from over the wicket, going across him, and that's a good line to keep it out there, out of the hitting zone of Harpreet Singh. Not able to make contact.
Got to say a special hello to our friends at T Sports in Bangladesh, joining to watch their side, the Bangladesh Tigers of USA, compete. And good team been put together here. They've got some exciting names: Ewart Nicholson, Kyle Phillip on that side, Elmore Hutchinson as well. 40 from 13 balls yesterday.
Oh, cheeky. This is going to be a boundary. We talked about how heavy hitting each of these batters are. You did not expect Harpreet Singh to just open the face and run that one fine of the fielder at backward point and runs away for 4. Cheeky shot, Nicky.
Yeah, crafty. Good innovation on display. And they get another boundary. So well on their way now, the Tigers, and looking at the big total here.
Oh. Harpreet Singh now up to 26 from 13. More conventional looking stroke this time. High front arm and just punching that through backward point for a couple more. Didn't have the legs to reach the boundary. But this is good batting. Take advantage of the good balls when you can. Punish the bad ones. This is exactly what you want to do as an opening pair. Scoring right now, the Bangladeshi Tigers at the rate of 10 and over exactly. This scoring rate obviously gets them exactly to 200. With this type of start, I think that they'll be looking, even if it's possible, to go higher than that. And you already get the sense that the square drive Panthers are going to need to make something happen here, because you get the sense that these two are getting settled. And when they get settled, particularly with the batting to come after them, this can really get out of control in a hurry. Outside off, and for the first time today, umpire Jermaine Lindo raises the arms.
Yeah, they want to keep those extras down to a minimum to ensure that already behind the game. 36 after 3.3, a run rate of over 10 and over, so already been powerful going so far. Need wickets if you're a square drive. It will be a bit low on confidence after yesterday's pummeling from Rakeem Crawwell.
Oh, look at that. That is excellent. That is excellent. Out of nowhere, Harpreet Singh with a big booming drive right back to the bowler. Saimanta takes it in his follow-through. That is never easy as a fast bowler with your momentum taking you down the wicket. But he grabs onto it, and the first wicket falls, scored 36 for 1.
We just spoke about this, getting a wicket, the need for a wicket, and they've done just that. So good to see for the square drive side that they can come back in this way. Really should have done better with it. Harpreet Singh would be disappointed, but hits it straight back, and a good return catch by Shrimanta. So early success for the square drive side.
Those straight drives coming back at you are never easy. But looking at the replay again, Nikhil, it almost appears that it was not timed very well. So it was kind of spooned off the bat. Here you see again on the replay, fetched it from far outside the line of off stump. And so it certainly wasn't hit very hard. And that, if you see here, the reaction of Harpreet Singh himself, just that action tells you that he thought that he would have thought that he could have gotten more out of that shot than he did. So for him, his day with the bat is done. First wicket going down. He's now replaced by Ninad Nimbalkar, a name that I always have trouble saying, but a batter who I always love watching. He's a tremendous young batter from the Dallas area. And a That's a great Yorker to start with. Well played. Dug out and driven down to long on for a single. Get the sense, Nikhil, that square drive Panthers needed that to happen. They needed to have something positive happen to number one, sort of stem the tide and then get themselves into the mindset that they can actually be competitive in this game. And that wicket was a big part of that.
Yeah, spot on. And you need to continue to take wickets to ensure, because this, as we saw yesterday, this is a very powerful Tigers batting lineup. Abdullah Saeed has been uncharacteristically quiet after that demolition of batting yesterday. Now it's slowed down a bit, but on the 4th, 38 for 1.
Back here at the Atlanta Cricket Ground, Nikhil Tamchandani has taken a bit of a break. He has a commitment that will keep him gone for probably more than a few minutes. And so I'll be flying solo here for a while, describing the action where we are at 38 for 1. The Bangladeshi Tigers, having lost Harpreet Singh, still have Abdullah Syed. Abdullah Syed 7 from 8, and Ninad Nimbalkar just came to the wicket at the fall of the last wicket. He only has 1 from that 1 ball faced. The bowling to be taken up this time from the combox end by Bhushan Gunage. Bowling right arm over the wicket into Abdullah Syed. Abdullah Syed, again, said it a couple of times before, a very aggressive batter. And so you expect that after having taken a look, he'll want to start moving forward with his innings. Innings almost ended though. He almost chopped that one back onto his stumps. Almost like a tentative little poke at that. We're still inside the power play. Of course, within the first 6 overs, only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. 2 fielders here down in front of us here at long on, and that deep square leg. So everyone else inside the circle. Bang! That's what you expect from Abdullah Syed. That was always on the way. And this is the first time that he has opened up his shoulders and gone big. Over extra cover. Brilliant inside-out shot. And that runs away for 4. Good batting. Here we see on the replay. In the slot, has to be said. He's going to have to get it a little bit straighter and a little bit shorter than that. Because at that length and on that line, Abdullah Syed will always punish you. So the first boundary, make that the second boundary for Abdullah Syed. He's now to 11 from 10 balls faced. And a little bit of an adjustment needs to be made here by Bhushan Gunage. That's much better length. Just defended to backward point for quick single. So you are going to want to make sure, if you are Square Drive Panthers, that you make the Bangladeshi Tigers score off of your good balls. They're a good enough batting side that they can score off of good balls, but when you give them bad balls, then they do what you'd expect a good batting side to do, is punish the bad balls. So from that standpoint, you're going to want to make sure that you keep the ball in the zone where you want it, just on that off-stump line, maybe just a bit outside off-stump, and just shorter length. That's the formula. Bowling now to Ninad Nimbalkar. Oh, gives him an absolute hit-me ball. That was absolutely a hit-me ball. Short and wide outside off-stump. Ninad Nimbalkar's eyes lit up, and he took advantage of that opportunity to get 6 free runs behind point. This really is not a very good ball. You see on the replay, short and wide, and all he had to do was just get bat on it, and it was always going to run away for four. In fact, we thought it was going to be for four, but it was hit cleanly enough by Nimbalkar that it went away for six. So some thinking in the field now. The fielder coming in from the boundary at deep mid-wicket, coming inside the circle. So to drop back a fielder to protect against that type of shot, that means he's going to stay on that line, but hopefully ball a better length. And I'll tell you what, he got away with that one now, because that ball was too straight, and with mid-wicket back inside the circle, that easily could have gone for runs. But as it is, it's a ball. Just one remaining here in the fifth. 49 runs already on the board. So a very productive start to the power play. Only one wicket fallen and 49 runs already on the board. Great delivery. That is where he should have been all along. What a great delivery to end his first over, Gunage. At the end of 5, the score is 49 for 1. One over remaining inside the power play. And the bowling will be taken up from the forest end by Vinit Tagarse. Abdullah Syed, 12 from 11. Ninad Dembalkar, 7 from 4. They're currently scoring at the rate of 9.8 and over. Just running through some possibilities. If they keep scoring at that same rate, they'll end up at 196. If they somehow manage to get up to 12 and over, they'll be at 229. At 13 and over, they get to 244. 14 and over, they get to 259. So that's just a range of where they could potentially be. Trying to force this one off the back foot, Abdullah Syed. Not getting clean contact, but he gets enough to be able to get a single. And that brings up to 50. So 50 on the board inside the power play. Again, this is the last over of the power play. And once again, the power play simply means that within the first 6 overs, the first 36 lead deliveries of the innings, there can only be 2 fielders outside of the 30-yard circle that runs around the length of the pitch. Nimbalkar. Oh, look at this. Oh, good backing up there. Just really a ball that really should just have been defended for no run. The fielders in the field decided to make it interesting. But at the end of that, just a dot ball. Once again, this is the Atlanta Open 2022 Spa presented by Tarek Real Estate. Oh, cheeky looking shot. I tell you what, that would have been 4 had that not been for the great work by that field backward point. He dove away to his left and deflected that ball enough that Abhinav Sikaram running across from fine leg, a third man rather, could have gotten there. That is good work. He saved 2 runs for his side, because that certainly would have had the legs to get all the way to the boundary for 4. Just a little bit of shifting around in the field. Maybe that gives us time to mention the other sponsors in this tournament. Tariq Real Estate is the presenting sponsor, and the scoop shot attempted by Nimbalker doesn't have doesn't work exactly, and keeper pouncing on the ball to keep the damage to 0 runs. But the presenting sponsor, Tariq Real Estate, additional sponsors are 27th Investment Group, HRA, Great Care Family Dentistry, Rahim Sahan Corporation, and Top Dollar Amusement. A tournament like this does not happen without the support of these sponsors, and we're really grateful for that. And and Nadia Bakker is really grateful for that short, wide ball outside the off stump, because he does exactly what he did with the previous ball in the previous over. Takes advantage of the gift and cuts it away over the top of point for 4. So I mentioned earlier, it is incumbent on the square drive Panthers to make sure that the batters score off of the good deliveries. And so far, we're not really seeing that. We've seen some good deliveries, but we've seen some really ordinary deliveries that are certainly being cashed in on. So you're going to want to clean that up if you're the square drive Panthers. And this is clipped in the air, and it is taken at mid-wicket. So once again, against the run of play, the ball really was there, to be fair, to be hit. And it was clipped, but clipped straight to that fielder at mid-wicket, sinking as it got to him, but he stayed in line with it, took it down low, and that is the second wicket to fall at the end of 6. The last ball of the power play brings a wicket, and at the end of 6, the score is 56 for 2. .56 for 2. Just looking again at this replay, the ball was dying as it got to the fielder, but he did well to come in. Here we see on the replay again, slanting down the leg side, so not the best delivery, but it was slightly slower through the air. Maybe that's what caused Nimbalker to hit it, maybe miss-hit it a little bit, and carried straight to mid-wicket, dying as it got to the mid-wicket fielder, but he was able to get the hands underneath it and complete the catch. There was a little bit of discussion as to whether or not it was caught clean. You see Abdullah Syed motioning to the umpire that the ball might have hit the ground, but I don't think that that was the case. From our viewpoint here, we're looking right at that fielder, even though he's about 120 yards away. I think that that was a clean catch. No problem at all with that decision. So the second wicket going down, the new batter, who is now coming to the wicket. Get the new batter as soon as we get it. But this new next over to be bowled by, again, Bushan Gunage. His first over was decent, but gave up a few runs. Gave up 11 runs from that first over. In fact, the new batter for the Bangladeshi Tigers is Tanzil Tauker Khan. So Gunage continuing bowling from the calm box end, and he's now bowling to Abdullah Syed, and you get the sense that more and more is relied upon by Abdullah Syed, and he hammers this one away into the deep. It gets through the fielder out there on the boundary. You'd think that he would have been able to stop that. He did the hard work in having gotten to it, but once he got there, you would like to think that he would have kept that from going across the ropes. Was not able to. Sliding attempt, but it does run away for 4. So Abdullah Syed started to say, you get the sense that things are starting to build on him. A couple of wickets have been lost, and he's been there from the beginning. So at 17 15 from 13. You get the sense that he needs to start accelerating from here. Very full, wrapped on the pad. Not given. Umpire Robert Foster taking a good look, but deciding that was speared down the leg side. We're not directly in line with the camera, but I think when we see the replay, you'll probably get the sense that this one is going down the leg side. There's definitely, it's definitely the case that things have slowed down a little bit. Wickets falling will always do that. Now what the square drive Panthers are going to need to do is just take advantage. Just make sure you just bowl good balls. This is a good delivery in that range outside the line of off. Oh, I'll tell you what, that could have been an overthrow. Good piece of work by the keeper. Having a shy at the stumps at the non-striker's end. But Abdullah Syed now 17 from 14. Tanzil Khan has only faced one ball and scored a single off that ball. So little by little the run rate is coming back down. This is well played by Abdullah Syed. Down to third man, just opening the face. And that's kind of what I was referring to. Make them score off of those types of deliveries. Those balls that are just in on that off stump line, just outside off stump maybe, and at a good short of a length delivery. Those are the types of balls that you need to bowl more often than not. And when you stray away from that, that's when good teams will punish you. Great delivery, appeal, and he's gone. Wow, that is a huge wicket moving away from the right-hander, and the ball kissing the outside edge, going right through to the keeper. And unfortunately for Tanzil Khan, umpire Robert Foster raising the dreaded finger, so he has to depart. And if you see the reaction of Abdullah Khan at the same time, see that he shook his head, see him immediately knowing that it was given out, and you see on that replay he absolutely knew it was out. Watch the non-striker here. This ball, look, there is the reaction. He knows that it's hit. He was already reacting before the umpire even raised his finger. So the third wicket goes down. Tell you what, the square drive Panthers are clawing their way back into the match. Once again, they gave up over 300 runs to the Atlanta Fire yesterday. Rakeem Cornwall himself scoring 205 runs. But 3 big wickets have fallen so far. And Abdullah Syed, once again, you get the sense that a lot of it is going to be on his shoulders. And this is now Mirab Hussain, who's joining Abdullah Syed at the wicket. There's 1 ball remaining here in the 7th. And Bushan Gunage, even though he didn't have a very good over to start his spell, but he does well here, taking a wicket, and only 7 runs from this over so far. Outside off, good line to the left-hander, slanting across him from that right arm over angle. Good closeout to the over. 7 runs and a wicket. At the end of 7, the score is 63 for 3. Back here at the Atlanta Cricket Grounds, 6-3 for 3. The Bangladeshi Tigers have lost 3, and they're not going to be comfortable with that. But they still have Abdullah Syed. And this one, you get the sense again, he's looking to break the shackles. This one peels off the outside edge and flying down to backward point. There's a sweeper out there on the boundary. Just a single. Abdullah Syed now 19 from 16. New batter Mirab Hussain has only faced one delivery and has not scored a run yet. Field now changing around for the left-hander. Vinit Tagar said into his second over. He's now bowling around the wicket to the left-handed Mirab Hussain. Of course, we're out of the power play now, so you can afford to have more fielders outside. You can have as many as 5 outside of that circle. So protection in the deep at square leg at mid-wicket at long on. And this is tickled behind square. A lot of work for this fielder at square leg to do. Good sprint of maybe 20-25 yards. And he gets all the way to keep that damage just 2 runs. So once again, we're in Atlanta. This is the Atlanta Open 2022. The winning team from this tournament, featuring 16 teams. The winning team, I believe, gets $75,000. So a lot on the stakes, other than just pride. Oh, good delivery, or good shot to a delivery that was too wide. He opened up the shoulders and took advantage of that wide shot, threw the bat at it. That's what they tell you to do. You either leave those alone or you throw the kitchen sink at it. And you see on the replay here from around the wicket, opens shoulders, and that ball flies away over the top of backward point for 4. So really the first shot played in anger by Mirab Hussain. And a lot of discussion, but I just want to make sure that you're going to have these bowlers bowl a little bit straighter than that last delivery and a little bit shorter also. Just these hit me balls are punishing them. That is a much better delivery in terms of the line. The length maybe still a little too full, but you get the sense that had Mirab Hussain played the shot that he rehearsed after the ball passed him, he might have gotten something more productive for it. But just really just poking at that one, fishing, having the ball beat the outside edge of the bat. Going to want to not do that, because any tentative strokes like that, the edge is found, it does nothing but go right through to the keeper's gloves. This ball, you probably see the keeper now retrieving a ball that was hit from the field behind us. Yeah. Anyway, so better delivery, and it is picked up at short third, no run. So this is a good comeback. A couple of deliveries by Vinit Tagarse, but it's so important. They've gotten to the point in the over where they've kept the batters down and then delivered 1 or 2 bad balls at the back of the over. They need to learn to close these overs out strong. This is a short delivery and it attempts to pull it. Almost caught him by surprise. Mirab Hussain looking for the big pull and only spooning it just to short mid-wicket. So they run through for a single. That would be the end of the over. At the end of 8, score is 71 for 3. 71 for 3 after 8. Abdullah Syed 19 from 16. And Murab Hussain just got to the wicket about 9 deliveries ago. He's 7 from 6. First delivery here of the 9th over is well outside the line of off stump and signaled wide by umpire Foster. Better delivery on this occasion. Just tapped down to mid wicket for a single. Murab Hussain 8 from 7. Abdullah 19 from 16. The wicket so far. After this delivery, we'll let you know who the wickets are and what the wickets are that have already fallen. Whipped away, short arm jab, nobody out there. That's a good looking shot, picking it up a little bit too straight and just whipping it away off the hips that goes away for 4. So you're going to need a lot more of those if you're Abdullah Syed. Here, see on the replay, too straight into his pads. Just an economy of movement, just whipping that one off his hips and easily running away for 4. So Abdullah Syed now moving on to 23 with that stroke. Started saying a second ago. The wicket so far, Harpreet Singh, 28 from 15. He was caught and bowled by Varun. Really good piece of work by Varun Samantha. Next delivery, Abdullah Syed again into the action, whipping it away behind square. This time it goes for 4. I thought just for a second it might have had the legs to get over the ropes, but it did not. Still consecutive boundaries to open the over here for Abdullah Syed. Looking at the replay, yeah, just that length and that line will always be meat and drinks for a batter of Abdullah Syed's capabilities. Back to the scorecard, Abdullah Syed is still there, 27 from 18. Ninad Nembaka, 13 from 9 with 1-4 and 1-6. And Tanzil Tawkar Khan, 1 from 2. So 3 wickets down, but Abdullah Syed has started out here with a couple of boundaries. And this time, a quick single taken to backward point. .82 is now the score. And again, looking at the projected scores, that overall rate has fallen. Hasn't fallen a whole lot, it has to be said. Get back to the projected scores in a minute as Mehrab Hussain just drops this to backward point and they run through for a single. So scoring right now at the rate of 9.46. If they keep scoring at that rate, they'll get to 189. A rate of 9 gets them to 184. A rate of 10 and over gets them to 195. A rate of 11 and over gets them to 207. And a rate of 12 and over, 2 runs off of every ball, the rest of the way gets them to 218. But earlier we were talking about scores that were a lot higher than that. So it has to be said that they've done well to come back the way that they have, Square Drive Panthers. And as we say that, a good closeout to the over by Bushan Gunage. Ball just defended back to him by Abdullah Syed for no run. So that concludes the 9th. At the end of 9, the score is 83 for 3. 83 for 3. Benito Garcia back into the attack. First ball is defended into the covers for a single. Benito Garcia so far 1 for 16 from his 2 overs and 1 ball. So been maybe marginally expensive, but he has taken wickets, and that's definitely what you want to have happen at this stage of the innings. You just want to make sure that somebody puts their hands up, and this is hammered through the covers. That's going to have the legs to get to the boundary for, I think, diving attempt by that fielder, sweeping, running across. He makes 30 yards and prevents the boundary. Might have been just a moral victory in the sense that they still ran 3 runs on that. But that's good effort in the deep by that fielder. Again, he made some 30 or so yards to his right. And again, the ball sailing over here from the adjacent fields. Makes it so we almost feel like we need to wear a helmet sitting here in the commentary area. This next delivery. Drop behind point, but there's coverage down there. Abhinav Sikaram coming off of the boundary at third to do cleanup work. So Vinit, after this, he'll have 1 more over, and the question to be asked is where are they going to start looking to have the bowlers to finish their overs? Because the overall rate is still relatively high. It's still 9.26, and I don't know that you're going to be able to find somebody who can limit the damage. This is potentially a catching opportunity. Hit right back to the bowler. My apologies. I didn't follow the ball off the bat. I think that might have been a catching opportunity. Either way, it's fielded by the bowler himself and is followed through. There's no run. Take a look out here. Next delivery. Bang, there it goes. Those are always going to be the difficult deliveries to keep Abdullah Said quiet. Because if you bowl that line and that length, you will disappear over extra cover. He's played that shot a couple of times today. Sailing away for 6. That is a hit me ball. And Abdullah Syed will always take advantage of those. So here looking at the replay, you see that this ball is in the slot outside off, and in fact Abdullah Syed using his feet to get to that one. Short, and he pulls it, doesn't make clean contact, but nobody out there, and he'll close out the boundary with a 6 or close out the over rather with a 6 and a 4. So 15 runs coming from that over, 49 coming from the last 5 at the end of 10. We're halfway through the innings. The score is 98 for 3. We're halfway through the innings. The score is 98 for 3. Abdullah Syed, 41 from 24. So he's 9 away from what would be one of the more sedate 50s that you've seen him score. But it has to be said that in the last couple of overs, he has looked a lot more aggressive. And I say sedate. 41 from 24 is still striking it at a tremendous rate. And then Mirab Hussain, who's only been there for 10 deliveries, he's on 11. So the overall run rate is still at 9.8. So you can still make an argument for them to be on pace to be well over 200. As it is, if they score 10 and over from here, they'll get to 198. And look at this one, the first delivery, expert piece of batsmanship, just playing it just late enough that it got behind that fielder backward point and runs away for 4. Look at this beautiful looking shot. Very little movement, just all timing. See that high front arm and then just opening the face of the bat just enough that it runs away behind point. That's a good start to the over by Mirab Hussain. Now a little bit of shifting in the field as they strengthen the offside. So Abhinav Sikaram, youngster from Houston, coming across and planting himself almost exactly where that ball just went. So there's protection for that type of shot. And this one is pulled, but there is a fielder in the deep. Just a single. Abdullah Syed will be now back on strike. Overall run rate at 9.97. And interestingly enough, 13 fours have already been hit, 3 sixes. And so it appears that they're scoring 68% of their runs in boundaries and sixes. So that's a high percentage and not unexpected given the explosiveness of Abdullah Syed. And this is punched into that square leg area. Do they come back for a second? Good running, strong throw to the keeper's end. And umpire Lindo does not think that he's out, and then not only does he not think so, he's I think a little offended at the fact that they're appealing, because from our angle Abdullah Syed appeared to be well and truly home. So that certainly isn't going to be something that is controversial. Umpire Lindo, one of the best umpires in the country, certified umpire through the West Indies Cricket Board, if I'm not mistaken. Man from Jamaica. And in fact, both of these umpires are from Jamaica. Robert Foster, the other umpire, the standing umpire at this point. Next delivery. Oh, Abdullah Syed wanting to go big. In fact, aiming right in this direction where we are. Not able to make contact. Just 2 balls remaining here in the 11th. Oh, look at this shot. This is the biggest 6 that we've seen all day. Tremendous stroke. Well and truly over the top of cow corner and sailing away for 6. Just a tremendous shot by Abdullah Syed. Look at this on the replay. Down on one knee and absolutely blasts this one. My unofficial estimate of the distance that that ball traveled would have been around, I would say 80 or 85 meters. It was a tremendous stroke. A question from a random fan walking up, why call cow corner? And this is smashed away down to deep point. And that is the 50 for Abdullah Syed. Tremendous effort from him. You can probably hear the fans in the or his teammates' background. And that is the end of the 11th over. At the end of the 11th, scores 111. Oh, check that, 112 for 3. Back here at the Atlanta Cricket Grounds, Pleased to bring you the Atlanta Open presented by Tariq Real Estate. 27th Investment Group. HRA, Great Care Family Dentistry. Raheem Sohan Corporation, and Top Dollar Amusement. All of these are entities and companies who have lent their names to our efforts to bring you cricket. Looking at the replay, Abdullah Syed going big. Just a short display of the power that Abdullah Syed has, doing really, really well. And I suspected that he would have been somebody who would have been lent on, particularly at the fall of all the other wickets. You get the sense that it is on him to really make sure that something happens here that will push his team toward that 200 mark that we talked about. So just one ball bowled so far in the 12th. Bowler is Ajiteth Badaria. And he is going to want to make sure that he keeps the ball out of the hitting zone of Abdullah Syed, and that is not how to do it. Oh, look at this. It is gone. Just for a second, I thought that he had enough of that to clear Long Off. But Long Off judged it to perfection, and it does not hurt that he's a very tall man, so he took that ball maybe head height. And after all of that, Abdullah Syed, unfortunately for the Bangladeshi Tigers, holds out to Long Off. He goes for a wide 56 from 29, make that from 30, but he would have wanted to stay there till the end. So against the run of play, a wicket goes down. Abdullah Syed walks back to the pavilion, having been dismissed after the second ball of the 12th over. The score is 118 for 4. So the new batter is going to be Chowdhury. Full delivery going down the leg side. It is a really help yourself to 4 runs type of delivery. And I'll tell you what, if you wanted to get down on your hands and knees and pray for a delivery to face first up, it would be a full ball going down the leg side, a loopy full delivery with fine leg inside the circle. That just all adds up 4 runs to the new batter. Chowdhury happy to open his account with those types of deliveries, easily running away down the hill for 4. Oh, good. A much, much better delivery. Drawing the batter forward. Not able to get any bat on it. In fact, not collected cleanly by the keeper would almost suggest that that might have been an edge. I don't think there was, but that's a better line. Much better line and length. And then this one is punished. Too many bad balls following up good balls. There's no pressure being built by the bowlers. Even when they take wickets, they're too often following them up with just ordinary deliveries. This is short and just gets the treatment. So that is 8 runs already to Mohamed Chowdhury. And he's gotten two deliveries that just anyone would beg to face. One full down the side, and the other genuine half tracker. Both of them expertly put away for 4. Just one ball remaining now. Actually, 2 balls remaining here in the 12th. The scorecard may actually be wrong. I think it's 1 ball remaining. So there's 6 wickets, a 4, a dot, and then another 4. So this should be the last ball. And of course, a bit of a delay right now while I think they attempt to retrieve the ball that went all the way through the parking lot. And sometimes it can be tricky to find those balls because you don't know if it's hiding underneath a car. And that gives just a little bit of time to go through the scorecard so far. So batting first, the Bangladeshi Tigers were asked to bat by the square drive Panthers. Harpreet Singh caught and bowled by Varun Saimantha for 28. Abdullah Syed just got out, caught on the boundary by Bushan, bowled by Ajitesh for 56. Ninad Dembalkar, 13 from 9, caught by Varun, bowled by Vinit. And Tanzil Khan, 1 from 2. Marab Hussain is still there, 16 from 12. And Chowdhury had 8 rather. He now has 10 as they come back. Another delivery that really is begging to be scored off of. Would have been 4 except for the fact that deep fine leg is in that position to cut off that shot. So they get 2 runs, and that is the end of the 12th over. And at the end of 12, the score is 128 for 4. Back here at Atlanta Cricket Ground, first ball of the 13th is just worked into the onside by Marab Hussain. He is now the senior partner. Played second fiddle to Abdullah Syed for the entirety of his innings, but he's now going to be asked to take control of things. He's been there for long enough. He's now 17 from 13. Marab Hussain, Mohammed Chowdhury, 10 from 4. He's been the recipient of some very friendly bowling so far, but this is lofted down the ground. This is going to be 6. Absolutely lands a yard over the boundary here, wide of long on. Well, Mohammed Chowdhury got a couple of deliveries that were very friendly, and he was able to open up his scoring options from those deliveries. And he is now appearing to want to use those as a springboard to what could potentially be a very explosive innings. He appears to be a very explosive batter, and he doesn't need an invitation to play those shots. A quicker, flatter delivery pushed through by Radhakrishna Maripati. This is his last over. So far, 3.3 overs, none for 36. So he's been a little expensive. And that last ball, even though he pushed it through, trying to get through the defenses of Mohammed Chowdhury, still able to get some bat on it and get that single. Now it's Marab Hussain back on strike. Tossed up, defended to backward point. Abhinav Sikaram says no thank you, no run there. The last 5 overs have yielded 65 runs. So a lot of runs been scored recently. And they have been accelerating. That overall run rate now back above 10. Oh, look at that. This is such an expertly played shot. And it's going to run and work down here by long off, but not able to get to it. You saw him winding up for the big shot, but then checking his stroke at the last second and then placing it. Look at this. Just for a second, he was going to play that big shot, but then adjusting the shot and driving it through extra cover and getting 4 runs in the bargain. So a beautiful piece of batsmanship by Mirab Hussain. So just 1 ball remaining here in the 12th. The last delivery for Maripati for the day. And it is defended down the ground to mid-off. Make that long off. Bit of a fumble. The comeback for second. Oh, that really never should have been 2. And the bowler is not going to be happy with that. He throws the ball away in disgust. 2 runs to close things out. 14 from the over. The score is 142 for 4. Forty-two for 4. Oh, a little bit of an extra bounce from that delivery, but they still score a single. So important to be able to score off of even the good balls, and that ball definitely was a good ball. It was on a good line, good length, and it bounced a little bit more than was being expected. But they still get a single for it, so that's good bowling. This is Ajitesh. This is going to be his second over. So far, conceded 16 from his first over, so he's going to want to fix that. And this ball is slammed away for 6 against the run of play. Wasn't able to follow it initially, but it goes away for 6. Happened to turn around and see the umpire with both his arms raised. Oh, filthy full toss. Just looking at that replay, hammered. And that got the treatment that it deserves. The question to be asked now is, was it called a no ball? I don't think it was. And I think Mr. Badadoria can consider himself lucky that that was not called a no ball, because it was a full toss. And from here, it would appear to be very close to being over the waist height. This is now driven another full toss into the deep. They come back for 2. This is not necessarily good fielding here by the square drive Panthers. They fumbled a couple and allowed additional runs to be scored. And after all of that effort, the 151 is now up. Mirab Chowdhury, or Mohamed Chowdhury rather than Mirab Hussain, both looking really aggressive. In fact, Mirab now up to 31 from 18, and Chowdhury 18 from 7. So just 2 balls remaining here in the 14th over. That's a better delivery. Just defended back down the pitch. Just wanting to make sure that the scoring options are limited. So just 1 ball remaining now. Do we close out strongly? Oh, we do close out strongly. Looking to sweep that one, but he was trying to drag it from too far outside the line of off stump. A dot ball, 3 consecutive dot balls to end the 14th over. 9 from the over. At the end of 14, 151 for 4. 151 for 4. For the first time bowling today, it will be Hier Patel. .151 runs in 14 overs, so the run rate is 10.79. They're on target now for 216, so they're certainly on target for a big score regardless of what happens. And you're going to want to take some wickets if you are the square drive Panthers. First delivery is just punched into the outfield for a couple. Here Patel, left arm spinner, bowling around the wicket to the right-handed Mohammad Chowdhury. And the fielders in the deep are long on and long off. Deep mid-wicket, square leg, and a sweeper on the offside. Attempted cut shot is missed, but a little too wide for the liking of umpire Foster. Straighter and defended into the offside. Run through for a single. So thinking in terms of where the runs are going to come from. 4 wickets are down, so you get the sense that probably the majority of runs that are going to be scored the rest of the way are going to be scored by these two. Both of them are now well set. At least appear to be well set, even though Marab has been there for much longer. He's 31 from 21. And Chowdhury, 21 runs scored from only 9 balls faced. So he's been very aggressive. Advancing down the wicket and missing, and I think he ended up yorking himself. Comes dancing down the track, plays either around or over the delivery, and his off stump is knocked back. So the 5th wicket goes down. And I expected for the majority of the runs to come from this partnership the rest of the way, but unfortunately the partnership is broken. Good work by the square drive Panthers. They've bowled a lot of loose balls today, but they've also bowled some good ones, and this was a good ball. It enticed Chowdhury to come dancing down the wicket to lose his off stump. Here we see on the replay, left arm over the wicket, comes dancing down and completely going across the line, missing out. And really just pretty straightforward. The off stump knocked back, and 5 wickets are now down. Well, coming to the wicket now is a man who, if anyone watches USA cricket, will know this name. He's featured one of the longest serving players in USA cricket history. Elmore Hutchinson, tall left arm fast bowler and a big hitting lower order right-hander. So if you've never seen him bat before, and I hope this is not a case of commentator's curse, but he hits the ball very cleanly, ends up really with a strike rate almost always in the 200 to 300 range, because he can really stroke a long ball. Now it has to be said, the wind is starting to pick up just a little bit, and it's blowing in the direction of the batter. So I don't know if he'll want to try to go big immediately. He's off the mark though. First delivery, just punched back to the ball. They're not able to field it cleanly, and they get single. So Elmore Hutchinson from the West Coast, features heavily in local cricket there and also plays in the minor leagues, and also has played for the U.S. for several years. No longer a member of the representative team, but still a very good cricketer. And good piece of cricket there. Just dropping it into the offside again, running through for a single. So the last ball coming up of what has been so far a successful first over by Hier Patel. He's taken 1 already. 6 runs scored only, and his captain will be really happy if every time he concedes 6 runs he takes a wicket. Hutchinson just driving the one into the mid-off area, no run. And again, a wonderful over by here Patel at the end of 15. 5 more to go, 157 for 5. Last 5 overs, Elmore Hutchinson and Mohamed Chowdhury are the two at the wicket. You expect that you might see some fireworks. Oh, looking to whip this one away down the leg side. Good flat delivery. Maybe a touch too straight, but Chowdhury missing out on that one, so not able to get any bat on it. Precious dot ball to start the 15th. So Chowdhury now 22 from 11, so he's striking it at 200 strike rate. Again, firing this one through, almost an action replay. Similar type of delivery, similar type of shot attempted, and the result is no run. So 2 deliveries, 2 dot balls. This is really economical stuff so far from new bowler Vivekanand. Lofted in the air deep to mid wicket, and it goes away for 4. Okay, good comeback sort of reaction to the 2 dot balls by Chowdhury. Maybe this last delivery tossed up just a touch more. You see a little bit slow through the air, and that gave him the leverage to be able to get under it and slap it through mid wicket for 4. Next delivery, shorter and slapped. I like that line better, outside the line of off stump. So it was an aggressive shot, but straight to mid-off, make that long off down there on the boundary. So only 1 run scored. Now this will be interesting because Elmore Hutchinson is now on strike. I mentioned that the wind is picking up. Well, the wind is blowing from Elmore Hutchinson's back, so the wind will help any elevated shot. I expect him to go big. And there he goes. Oh my goodness. That is, earlier I said that we saw the longest 6. This is the longest 6 that's been hit today. Well and truly over the top of long off. My estimate would be 90 meters. Tremendous strike by Elmore Hutchinson. You see him wind up and absolutely blast that ball. These are the types of shots that he's known for. And again, if you've never seen him bat before, expect a lot more of this to close out this match. So he gets immediately going, 7 from 3. But you expect that he's going to be doing a lot more of this the rest of the way. A little bit of a delay because that ball required some retrieving. And speaking of retrieving, this ball is sailing over here again from an adjacent field. Doesn't seem to be stopping the action, though. Elmore Hutchinson back again, ready to face. Short and forcing this one to the fielder and the covers for no run. It's a good closeout delivery, actually, a good comeback. But 11 runs coming from that over. After 11, the score is 168 for 5. Last 4 overs coming up. This is here Patel again. Stroke down the ground. That's a good looking shot, but good protection. Long on coming around, maybe 5 yards or so to his left, and limiting the damage to just 1 run. Here Patel, good first over. His first over conceded 6 runs and he took a wicket. A lot of bowlers being used here. Very short outside off stump, and Elmore Hutchinson blasts it, but straight down to mid or long off rather. This is good bowling to his field by here Patel. Next delivery. Oh, beautiful. Tossed up a little bit more, inviting the poke outside off stump. No contact made, but this is a good delivery by here Patel. Working very quickly. This next delivery. Short and pulled down to the fielder here at cow corner. So overall, good bowling. He's bowled well so far. Now it's just incumbent on him to close out strongly. Pushing it through off the back foot. Hutchinson goes straight down to long off rather. Good running. They come back for that second. Those 2 runs are very important because it keeps Hutchinson back on strike. Bit of a fumble by long off. He'll want to be able to collect that more cleanly because he just gave the big hitting Elmore Hutchinson the opportunity to go big again. Oh, this is a better delivery. Spooning off the outside edge. Somehow Hutchinson gets that down to long off. Just a single, and that is a good over. All things considered, a really good over. Just 5 runs coming from it. So the last 3 overs coming up. Score is 174 for 5. Last 3 overs. This is Varun Samantha. This is going to be a leg bye to start things here in the 18th. A little bit of a display, a delay now. It's being called a dead ball by umpire Jermaine Lindo. Not exactly sure why. Potentially we could go back and look at the replay because we don't initially see what umpire Lindo saw. But whatever it is that he saw, you can be assured that he is making the right call. A brilliant umpire. And now he is signaling 5 penalty runs. So not exactly sure what happened, but there's 5 penalty runs being adjudged to the batting side. Really interesting. I'd love to see exactly what that call was about, but he has signaled 5 penalty runs. So whatever it is that happened, umpire Lindo is not happy with it, and he's just signaled 5 runs. And this next ball, that's not going to be 5, but it's going to land short of that fielder at mid-wicket who had enough time to come in and take that catch. He just absolutely had enough time. He decided early on that he was only going to play that on the bounce. Had he come in another 3 steps, he would have taken that maybe waist height. So curious offerings here by the Square Drive Panthers. Not sure exactly what is going on, but this is now put down to mid-on. Make that long on. This is really interesting. I really would like to have an explanation as to why those were 5 penalty runs. But anyway, flurry of activity. And I'm looking now, the scoreboard has not scored those penalty runs, so that might need some clarification. And this is hammered wide off extra cover. Good work by the fielder in the deep. Oh, look at this. 2 fielders, or 2 of them are at the same end. They maybe shied at the wrong stumps. That easily could have been run out. Here we see on the replay, the ball picked up cleanly by the fielder. Deep extra cover. And boy, look at that. The throw came in. In fact, he did hit the stumps at the non-striker's end, or at the striker's end. But it was only... he was already grounded, so no, not out that way. But there's a lot of activity here. Now the big man Elmore Hutchinson winds up looking to go big, only ending up getting a thick inside edge, and it runs down to backward square for a single. Once again, a lot of activity. The scoreboard is going to need to be caught up with everything that is going on, because very clearly umpire Lindo signaled 5 penalty runs. And I do not see where that was reflected on the scoreboard. Short, spanked down to deep square leg, but there's protection down there. Just a single. And that should be the end of the over. 180 for 5 is what the scoreboard says. I would have to think that there's at least 4 more runs that need to be added to that. But we'll get all of that straightened out as soon as possible. So 180 official as we speak right now, but very easily that could change. We'll be right back. Back on the air, and very almost was the case that I had the opportunity to get some catching practice in, as this ball came sailing over the head of the fielder down here at long on for a big 6. That's Elmore Hutchinson into his work. Last 2 overs, and we are now actually 11 balls to go, and the score up to 191 for 5. But again, that is unofficial. I think officially we're missing out on a few runs, because there's no question that umpire Lindo certainly signaled those 5 penalty runs. So just a bit of a delay while we get our bearings right here. Once again, the scorecard officially is now saying 191, but we'll clarify all of that as soon as we can. In the meantime, oh, this is sloppy. That fielder deep at cover, just absolutely letting the ball go right through him. And what should have been just a single goes away for 4. Here we see on the replay, it just punched into the outfield easy as you like. Anyone can bend down and pick that up. You really have to not let those get through. So that's another boundary. These are making here Patel's figures look worse than they are, because he really has bowled well. 122, 1 for 22 so for him. Next delivery. Stroke down the ground. This should be pretty straightforward for long on. No difficulty fielding that one. .196 is what we have on the scoreboard right now. I believe that the scoreboard is now correct. I think that has been caught up with. Tossed up. You do not want to toss up to Elmore Hutchinson. That is the last thing that you want to do, and the last batter you want to do that to. He's 6'4" or so, tremendous reach, really long arms. He will give it the treatment, and he absolutely hammers it straight down the ground for yet another 6. A tremendous strike by Hutchinson. Boy, that is inviting trouble when you toss that ball up to Elmer Hutchinson, particularly with only 7 balls remaining in the innings. The result is pretty inevitable, and that stroke, by the way, brings up the 200. And unfortunately, I believe we have a lost ball, because that one is not going to be found anytime soon. There's a cadre of players looking for the ball, and they're all now signaling there's no way we can retrieve the ball. We need a new one. That is a tremendous strike by Elmer Hutchinson. He is now up to 20 from 11. Mohamed Chowdhury, 43 from 24, and these two are dragging the Bangladeshi Tigers into a really dominant position. A bit of a delay while we have to have a replacement ball. It took some time, but I think we've finally now we've gotten to the point we can get a replacement ball. Elmore Hutchinson single-handedly delaying this game by blasting a tossed-up delivery well and truly over the head of everyone. Almost back to the airport where I just came from, an hour away. Here's the last ball of the over. Better delivery, but it is still hammered away for 6 more. He pushed it through much flatter. I think the one thing you can criticize about it is that it was too short. And Elmore Hutchinson immediately pouncing on it and hammering it away for 6 more. So that is 6 runs to end the over. An expensive last over by Hier Patel. 24 big runs coming from that over. And at the end of the over, the score is 208 for 5. Last over, Varun Samantha, left arm over the wicket. Short ball and pulled away in the deep, but there's protection. One bounce to that fielder at deep backward square. That's a good start to the over. But he does get to face up now to Elmore Hutchinson, the man who has absolutely there's nothing holding him back from throwing the kitchen sink at everything in this over. 209 already on the board, so it's already an imposing figure, but it could get much, much worse if Hutchinson has his way. Bang! In the air, sailing away for 6 over square leg. Boy, this is going to get out of control very, very quickly. If I am the bowler and I am being asked to bowl to Elmore Hutchinson at this stage of the innings, I would do the best I could to bowl the best Yorker that I could. Even if you miss your Yorker and end up bowling a low full toss, it is better than anything that allows Elmore Hutchinson to use his leverage and open up his shoulders, because everything else will go for runs. Bang! There he goes again. That's 6 more. Oh, this is going to get ugly. This is absolutely going to get ugly. Elmore Hutchinson all of a sudden up to 32. Here we see on the replay again. Have to get that ball fuller. You absolutely have to make him play you with a straight bat. Anything other than that, and he's going to throw the kitchen sink at the ball. So again, another delay while the ball goes into the parking lot. Hutchinson does not need an excuse to play these types of shots. He already has it in him. It's what he's well known for. He will do this all day long if you let him. 3 deliveries left. The score is already 2-2-1. Get that ball full, young man. It has to be full. Better. That is much better. It's blasted down the ground. Still goes for 4. But you'll take that over balls that are being knocked into the next county. So I don't mind the low full toss, even though maybe just a little bit too high. A low full toss, maybe ankle height, is probably not a bad delivery at this stage. But you've just got to have him playing full, or playing straight rather. But already 17 runs from the over with 2 balls to come. Short, and it gets what you would expect that short ball to get. Boy, Elmore Hutchinson has raced to 48 from 16 balls. The score to 231 with 1 ball remaining. And now the only drama is going to be whether Elmore Hutchinson can get to his 50. 231 runs on the board. Oh, this has gotten out of control. The wheels are starting to fall off for the square drive Panthers. And unfortunately, Varun Samantha is having a shocker of a last over. Here's the last ball, switching to around the wicket. Swing, and it gets a thick outside edge. Runs down to third for a 4 that closes out the innings. Elmore Hutchinson gets to his 50. 52 from 17. The Bangladeshi Tigers are 235 for 5, which means after a short break, the Square Drive Panthers are going to be looking at a really steep climb to get to where they need to get to in terms of a target of 236. So a quick look at the scorecard as soon as we can get it. Dominated definitely at the top. First by Abdullah Syed, 56 from 30. He was helped out by Harpreet Singh, 28 from 15, and Rab Hussain, 31 from 22. But this partnership at the back end, Chowdhury, 44 from 25, and Elmore Hutchinson, 52 not out from 17. Tremendous batting by the big man, and pushes them to a great total of 235. For the bowlers, 1 wicket each for Varun Saimanta, Bhushan Gunage, Vinit Tagarse, Ajitesh Badudara, and Nirhir Patel, each of them taking 1 wicket, but all of them going for almost 10 runs and over. In fact, they all went for 10 and over or more, with the exception of Gunage, who went for effectively 10 runs and over, 9.67. So that is the end of the over, end of the innings. A tremendous close out to the innings by the Bangladeshi Tigers, and that means that the Square Drive Panthers have some work to do to get to 236. A short break, and we'll be back for the run chase within 10 minutes. Welcome back to the Atlanta Cricket Fields. Absolute display of fireworks toward the back end of the last innings. First by Abdullah Syed, and then definitely towards the back end of that innings by Elmore Hutchinson. 52 from 17 results in a tremendously overpowering type of score, 235 runs. And unfortunately for the Square Drive Panthers, they're looking at a real uphill climb here to try to overhaul this total. Openers for the Square Drive Panthers will be coming out shortly. The openers are Yashwant Balaji and Radhakrishna Maripati. And they absolutely have their work cut out for them because, first of all, having to score 11.8 runs and over to win is not in the very least easy, but it is made even harder by the fact that you're going to be facing up to really, really good bowlers, not the least of whom is the man now marking his run-up. The same man who just scored 52 from 17 is fresh enough and fit enough. Always been one of the fitter fielders in the U.S. cricket scene. More than fit enough to be able to open the bowling. Left armer over the wicket, bats right-handed but bowls left-handed. And bowls left arm. He'll be looking to swing that ball into the right-handers. And with his height and at his pace, he can generate a good short ball if he needs to. And in addition to that, and this bowler who is now walking back, and in fact he appears to be making a mark himself, is Kyle Phillip. If you've never seen Kyle Phillip bowl before, always known as one of the quickest bowlers in the country. Very tall, taller than Elmore Hutchinson. He's probably 6'6", and absolute lightning. So the young Square Drive Panthers are going to have their work cut out for them. It's not going to be easy, but in some instances, if you have such a big target, then you know that your only choice is to hit the ground running. You're staring upwards at 236 runs as a target, meaning that effectively you're having to score almost 12 runs and over, which tells you that the way to play yourself in is going to be when you're walking to the crease, because once you get to the crease, you're going to have to start going for runs, or going for shots rather, immediately. So let's see how well they can do in the power play. Elmore Hutchinson is going to look to take wickets with that power play. Obviously, during the power play, only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. Those 2 fielders are now at third man at fine leg. Pretty standard for a good fast bowler. Hutchinson is going to be bowling around the wicket to the right-handed Radhakrishna Maripati. And we're off and running. Here's Elmore's first ball, slanting in, and it is inside edge down to fine leg for a single. So the longest journey begins with a single step, and that is the one run that has started the proceedings here for the Square Drive Panthers. They have a tremendously steep hill to climb, but nothing beneficial ever came easy, so they're going to have to put their thinking caps on and try to figure out how to try to overhaul this total. Once again, not going to be easy, but just know that they have one mode that they need to be in, and that mode is going to be to attack and try to get as much as possible. So for them, you know, in the format of the tournament, effectively, as the top 2 teams in each group go through to the playoffs, the bottom 2 effectively are out. And they lost yesterday, conceding some 326 runs to the Atlanta Fire. So they have a lot of work to do to even stay in the battle here. Good piece of keeping, diving away, keeper getting that one, going down the leg side, and does well to keep it from going away for 4 additional runs. It already conceded a wide since it was going down the leg side. But continue to pay attention to exactly the runs that are being scored versus the rate at which they're being asked to score. Those are going to tell the story about how this chase is going to go. This is just defended into the covers for no run. Elmore Hutchinson, tremendous all-rounder, as I mentioned. Played for USA for a long time and filled the exact role with the US that he has filled in this match. Just a tremendous all-rounder. Next delivery. He's bowling very full. Everything is full and everything is squirted towards the stumps. There's no question that he's targeting the stumps straight up. Just a dot ball. Elmore Hutchinson. Left arm fast medium. These days he's 40, almost 40, well, just turned 40 not too long ago. Tremendous bowler. Played for the United States of America, and these days makes his living in the LA area. This ball is punched down to cow corner. They could potentially have gotten two, but not running very hard. Ended up just getting that single. So very sedate start. 3 runs scored from 4 balls faced. And there's no question that their work is cut out for them. Hutchinson again, left arm around the wicket. Wrapped on the pad, and he's given him. Taking a good look was umpire Foster. Thought about it long enough, but then he was convinced sufficiently that that ball would have crashed into leg stump from around the wicket. Elmore Hutchinson with that high arm action, spearing that ball in towards the stumps, has been attacking the stumps the entire over so far. Here we see on the replay that from around the wicket, swinging in and wrapping him on the pad, and then finally just having a think, and umpire Foster eventually raises the hand or raises the finger. So that is the end of Radhakrishna Maripati. He goes for 1 from 3 balls faced. Elmore Hutchinson has his first wicket, and what is an extremely difficult task for the Square Drive Panthers, unfortunately, is going to continue to get more and more difficult. So Maripati is replaced at the wicket by Ajitesh Bhadoria. A small matter of another 233 runs to get, and only 115 balls in which to get them. So the asking rate is already over 12. I would suspect that you will continue to see that rate continue to climb. Hutchinson in. Well down the leg side. Well, the only thing keeping the Square Drive Panthers in the game at this stage is extras. They have scored 4 runs. 50% of those runs are through extras. So Hutchinson just with 1 ball remaining here in this first over. Of course, also the first over of the innings. Down the leg side again and again, another wide. So the entire first over, to the credit of the Square Drive Panthers, the entire first innings is what I meant to say. Conceded 10 runs. Of those 10, 5 were penalty runs. So only 5 extras conceded, the typical extras, leg bys and wides generally. Don't think they had any no balls. But already in the first over here, Elmore Hutchinson has conceded 3 extras. So about the only thing that the big man has not done right today. In the grand scheme of things, though, that doesn't necessarily mean a lot, because Square Drive Panthers need a whole lot to go their way in the next hour and a half or so to be anything close to competitive. This one is on the stumps and defended back to Hutchinson himself. So first over that features 3 wides, 2 runs off the bat, and a wicket. At the end of 1, the score is 5 for 1. 5 for 1, and as I suspected, the opening bowler from the far end, the far stand, is going to be Kyle Phillip. Kyle Phillip, tall, lightning quick, and if you have to score heavily, it's going to be very difficult to do it against bowlers of this caliber. Phillip, of course, with his pace, he's going to be a handful. And then Elmer Hutchinson, you saw what he did in the first over. Oh, this is well played, though. Just dropping it into the area behind point and running through for a single. So the important thing, if you are the Square Drive Panthers, you want to make sure that you continue to score. Even if each single that is scored makes the required rate go upward, and that is going to be the case, every single and every dot ball, the required score is going to go up, or the required rate rather. It's now at 12.21. So singles actually hurt you. But what you don't want to do is just have them bowl at you and not at least be trying to score, not at least be turning the scoreboard over. So a long way to go, but there's a lot of work to be done. And this is played off the back foot, racing away, sprinting across is Elmer Hutchinson, not able to get there. But look at the energy from the man who just scored 52 from 17 and knows that his team is well and truly on top. He still sprints full out, probably 40 or 50 yards to his right. Wasn't able to get there, but that shows a commitment by Hutchinson. But to the credit of the Square Drive Panthers, and specifically Ajitesh Badoria, he's starting out this over in the way that you need to. Maybe you're not going to charge down the wicket to try to hit the big pace bowler back over his head, but you need to look for ways to score runs, and he found a really good way of doing it there. Short ball down the leg side. Catch it was the cry. And in fact, it is being signaled now by umpire Jermaine Linda. Not necessarily signaling, just indicating to the fielders that it was that there was some contact on that. So very well, very easily could have been a catch had that been held by the keeper. But I think after all that, it's just a dot ball. It's good work. Keeper actually had an opportunity to take a catch there, I think. Just looking at the replay, that may have just come off the glove. Here's Phillip again. Short ball, genuine short ball. And umpire Lindo warning for, not necessarily warning, but signaling that that is the one short ball for the over. So good work on the part of all involved. Good short delivery and then good umpiring by Jermaine Lindo. Very full and whipped away into the deep. There's a man down there. He fumbles it, and they'll come back for two. Should have just been one. In the context of the overall game, that one fumble might not mean a whole lot, but you're going to want to make sure that you don't give the opposition any opportunities to try to get back into the game. So 12 on the board, just one run, one ball remaining here in the second. Big swipe and a miss outside off, beaten for pace. And the bowler, Kyle Phillip, is coming down and letting the batter, Ajitesh Badoria, know about it. Aggression and hostility being showed here by Kyle Phillip. 2 overs in, 12 for 1. First ball of the third over is lofted into the air off of the bat of Yashant Balaji. Elmer Hutchinson starting his second over, the third of the innings, and lofted into the outfield such that they can run for two. So you'll take all the runs that you can get at this stage. Once again, a really steep hill to climb. Yashwant Balaji now 4 from 5. Ajitesh Badoria, I have such a hard time saying that name, 6 from 6. Short ball by Hutchinson. That is the first one that he's dug in short today. And not signaled as a short ball by the umpire. Umpire Foster not necessarily having an issue. But now Hutchinson is going over the wicket to the right-handers. I like the move. Generally, I prefer a left-hander going over the wicket versus around the wicket to right-handers. Slower delivery. Oh, that gets through the keeper. Diving attempt down here, third man. Did he stop it in time? I think he did. They get two. Should be two byes. No, these are wides. So 3 wides conceded by Elmer Hutchinson. So again, the only thing that he's done wrong today is 6 wides already conceded by him. Continuing over the wicket to the right-handed Balaji. Good line. That one is on an off-stump line, which is what you want when you're a left-handed bowler, bowling over the wicket. Just that good line and that good hard length too. Not able to get any bat on that was Yashwant Balaji. So Hutchinson, don't know how many overs he will bowl for. You would get the sense that you don't need your strike bowler to bowl all the overs today. Short ball and glanced or guided down to third man for a single. If you're thinking long term about what the rest of this tournament looks like, at this stage, you can probably be assured that there is very little work for you to do here. I don't think that there's going to be, unless I'm very sadly mistaken, I don't think that you need to have your bowlers go all out here. This is lofted in the air, diving attempt at square leg, not able to get to it. And I think he may have rolled over on that and hurt himself a little bit. That is Ninad Nebakar feeling at square leg, diving forward, and I think he may just have hurt himself. But I think he will be okay. Now, just having a chat with the umpire, I think he's going to be fine. So, put it down as a chance. It certainly was an opportunity to take a catch. And last ball of the over, another wide. So, once again, a delivery outside off, missing the line that Elmer Hutchinson needs to be bowling at. He wants to be bowling on that off-stump line and not able to get anything on it. Just one more ball remaining. 19 is the score. For what it's worth, Square Drive Panthers are scoring at the rate of 6.71 runs and over. And this is a slower delivery, just knocked into the outfield, into the offside rather. They take a quick single. That is the end of the over. So at the end of 3, Elmer Hutchinson second. The score is 20-1. 20 for 1. Kyle Phillip back at work. Good short delivery. Half-hearted appeal. Umpire Lindo not interested. But you expect for Kyle Phillip to be doing that, using the pace that he has. He, I think, far and away is the quickest bowler in this match. He may be among the 3 or 4 quickest bowlers in this entire tournament. And I think overall, if you have that weapon, you need to be able to use it. This next delivery, another short ball, and he has hurt the batter. Ajitesh Barduria, he is down. He was absolutely hit, and he is in definite pain. Oh, you hate to see that. In fact, where they're working on him, it appears to be on his leg or on his. He may have just, the ball may have just missed the pad and hit him in the leg. You see on the replay, on the inside edge onto the inside of his knee. Oh, I can guarantee, if you've never had that happen to you, consider yourself lucky. That has happened to me. That has happened to many people I know who play cricket, but never at the pace at which Kyle Phillip is bowling. So kudos to Baduria, who tried to take on the short ball. You have to try to score, but that inside edge onto the knee, and it's the portion of the knee that is not protected by the pad. So that would have gone directly from the inside edge at pace onto the soft, fleshy inside part of your knee. I guarantee you that he's going to be hurt for a while. And he's limping. That pad is off. Kudos to him. He's trying to walk it off. And it appears that he's putting the pad back on. So he's going to try to soldier on here. Absolute kudos to him, because that is not an easy injury. Again, a bowler at Kyle Phillips' pace is going to disturb any batter, and particularly if you're going to be hurt in the way that Baduria just was, that is very difficult to come back from. But again, 100% kudos to him for continuing to fight. And the journey is going to be that much harder now, that I would have to think that that type of injury would limit his ability to sprint between the wickets. Of course, there's that old maxim, beware of the wounded batsman, or in these days, beware of the wounded batter. Because if you have no opportunity to run, then your only choice is to hit 4s and 6s. Let's see if in some way Ajitesh Badoria can turn that into an advantage for his side. So things dragging just a little bit here. Badoria taking some time to get back into his game. But here's now up facing to Kyle Phillip. Yorker, that is dead straight, and it is gone. I am not directly in line with the stumps, but I could see that from here. Absolutely full and straight. And Kyle Phillip, I think, just absolutely taking advantage of the fact that the batter himself was wounded a little. Gets it up there, full and straight, and bang on target. Here we see on the replay coming up on your screen now. Bullet straight. And again, we're not directly in front where we are, but you could easily see the leg stump behind the batter when that shot was played. So that's an indication to me that that ball is plowing into leg stump. I think umpire Jermaine Lindo making the right decision. So the second wicket goes down, unfortunately for Baduria himself. Not only was he hurt, but then the very next delivery, he lost his wicket being adjudged before, or leg before. So 20 for 2 is now the score. And the required rate, unfortunately for the square drive Panthers, continues on its way up. It's now up to 13.09. The new batter is in and pulling away from the potential delivery. Not quite ready. This new batter is Tejas. Tejas Komati ready. These are trying times here for the Square Drive Panthers. They have to find a way to try to manufacture runs, but it's going to be hard against Kyle Phillip. Very full. In fact, it was this low full toss going down the leg side. Oh, fumble in the outfield, and that causes them to come back for a second. So once again, you'll take the runs any way they're offered to you. So far, just one boundary in the innings. 22 runs scored. They need another 214. And of those 22 runs scored, 7 of them are extras. So not a lot coming off the bat. Short ball outside the off stump and the judge wide. I think that was wide based on line as opposed to length. It didn't bounce over the top of the batter's head, in which case it would have been a judge wide. But I think the line was just too wide outside off stump for the liking of umpire Lindo. Phillip again. Oh, outside edge. Right down here in front of us. This is Elmer Hutchinson. So just one ball remaining. Things are absolutely looking down for the Square Drive Panthers. Said it earlier, bearing in mind that when you're having to chase total this big, every single that you score increases the required rates. Great delivery. Tentative poke by Yashwant Balaji, not getting any bat on it. That is the end of the second over bowled by Phillip, the 4th over overall. And at the end of 4, the score is 24 for 2. Back here at the Atlanta Cricket Ground. Once again, this is the Atlanta Open 2022 presented by Tarek Real Estate. There's a new bowler coming from the combox end. This is Tanzil Khan. Whoa. Tanzil Khan, a right-handed bowler, bowling over the wickets to the right-handed Tejas. Tejas Kamati ready. First delivery, bouncing and wrapping Tejas. I think that missed pad and everything else and struck him wherever it struck him. He's not comfortable. That may have been on the thigh or may have been on the cup. In fact, I don't think it was the cup. He'd still be down if that was the case. But boy, these two Square Drive Panthers generally are not having a good time out there. Now he's down, and that may in fact have been the cup. Yeah, looking at that replay, that's exactly what happened. It took a while to have the expected effect, and that's all I'll say about that. So he'll be down probably for a few minutes. That gives us enough time to just kind of reset and talk about where we are. Bangladeshi Tigers were asked to bat by Square Drive. Bangladeshi Tigers with a tremendous effort with the bat, led by Elmer Hutchinson, 52 from 17, Ahmed Chowdhury, 42 from 25, Abdullah Sayed at the top, 56 from 30. Those were your cheap destroyers. And then so far in the chase, square drive is not really having a good time of it. But they're here and they're fighting. Next delivery. Look at the bounce on that delivery. Bouncing, rearing upward off a length. And it is played, really played well in the end, actually, by Tejas, running it down to third man for a single. Things are going to be more and more difficult from here. The required rate now up to 13.47 and over. There's Tanzil Khan. That flies away down to third man and will go away for 4. So just a little bit of width off on offer. Yashwant Balaji pouncing on that width, throwing the bat at it, which is what you want to do. You see on the replay, the slip fielder is in position, but he goes after it hard and it flies well and truly over his head and goes away for 4. A little bit of a delay, not sure exactly. It appears that umpire Foster signaling to the fielders, or actually the members of the batting side who were still in the pavilion. Not sure what that was, but anyway, here's Khan again, looking to work it away on the leg side, not making any good contact, just kind of trickles back to the bowler for no run. Things are going to be exponentially more difficult from here, but again, all you can do is keep fighting. Tanzil Khan just going for the 5 runs so far in the over. And if you are the captain of the Bangladeshi Tigers, you want your bowlers to bowl like there's 35 runs on the board and not 135. That is a good looking shot. Make that not 235. But that shot stroked beautifully through the covers, runs away for 4. That's not a bad looking shot at all. Any format of cricket, that's a very productive stroke. You'll take those runs any way you can get them. So 9 from the over so far. Just 1 ball to come. Yashwant Balaji 9 from 12. And Tejas Komati ready 4 from 4. So they do have their work cut out for them, but once again, you have to start pushing forward, have to try to put yourself in a position to seriously attack this total. Oh, top edge flying down to third man, and it's going to be 4 more. Okay, so you'll take these runs. These are very, very good runs to have for the first time this innings. The required rate hovers around the same number, because before this over, they'd only scored 24 runs, but they get 13 from this over itself, the 5th. This is more along the lines of what they want. At the end of 5, the score is 37 for 2. So we're going to have spin for the first time, it appears. Bowler coming from the far end. The farthest end is going to be Imrul Hasib. Imrul Hasib will be bowling to Yashwant Balaji. Tough sledding, but Yashwant is trying his best. He's 17 from 14. They just come out to ready, 4 from 4. So a lot of work to be done by these two, and eventually by the rest of the square drive Panthers. First delivery, kind of a half-hearted appeal by the keeper. No real chance of that being given out, I don't think. It's a good start. Starts with the dot ball. This one itself is too wide. So once again, the only thing that the Bangladeshi Tigers have not done well today is bowling extras. They're right now, and this is stroked back to the bowler for no run. Right now they're scoring almost a quarter of the runs in wides. The square drive Panthers, certainly not a good number to have. Stroke down the ground for a single. Once again, big picture. You are looking at another 197 runs to get and another 87 balls in which to get them. Oh, looking for the big drive through the offside, a thick outside edge, and runs down to third for 4. Once again, you don't care if they come off edges, you don't care if they're leg bys, you just want to get runs. That's exactly what you need if you're the square drive Panthers. And once again, if you are the Bangladesh Tigers, your remit is to just keep it straight and keep it full. In the air, and it's going to pierce the field and I think run away for a second consecutive boundary. So, look, there's one ball remaining here in this over. 10 runs have already scored from it. The previous over yielded 13 runs. So this is the type of innings that you would want to see being played if there's going to be a serious challenge to this total. Now change of attack coming around the wicket to bowl to the right-hander. Slapped in the air. There's a man down there. That is Nimbalkar, I believe. And that's just a single. So 1 to end the over. That is the end of the power play. At the end of 6, the score is 48 for 2. Tanzil Khan to continue. 1 over so far went for 13. So the last 2 overs have gone for 24. So that's more along the lines of what you'd be looking at when you are looking to chase down a total of this size. You're still a long way off. You're still 188 runs off, but score 48 for 2 means that you certainly have the opportunity to get something here. Oh, what a great delivery. What an absolutely brilliant delivery. Leaping up at the batter from a good length, kissing the glove, and it flies through. One-handed catch taken by the keeper. So the third wicket goes down as Tanzil Khan finds the outside edge of the bat, and unfortunately that is another wicket that goes down for the square drive. Look at that. Just a great delivery. Bouncing again, rising off that good length, kissing the glove, and sailing through right to the keeper, who takes a good one-handed catch. In fact, he made it very nonchalant. He almost made no effort to make it look difficult. It was a pretty straightforward catch, but the fact that he took it with one hand tells you how good a keeper he is. But that is the third wicket that goes down. And yet another nail so far, it feels like, in the coffin for the Square Drive Panthers. So Tanzil Khan with a wicket. Tejas come at the ready. Is already at the on strike. He's a non at the wicket. He's a non-striker. And the young man who is now at the wicket is from my part of the country, young Abhinav Sikaram. Very talented left-hand batter, youngster. Good looking delivery and well left by Abhinav. If I had to guess his age, I would have to guess it's about 17 or 18, even though I can stand to be corrected on that. But he's a very talented player. Plays in the youth leagues in the Houston area. And a tremendous young cricketer. He's up against a very tall order here, though. 48 for 3. His team is being asked to score 13.59 and over from here to win. That's a good-looking stroke, but right to backward point. Boy, he nailed that. That is a good-looking shot. He would be disheartened that that did not find a gap. But in fact, it went straight to backward point for a dot ball. Tanzil Khan finding success in his first over. Slower delivery, that's well played. And Sikaram is off the mark. Good deal by him to be able to. In fact, he's not off the mark, unfortunately for him, as umpire Foster signals a leg by. So he will not like that. He is still scoreless. And the umpires signal 2 each to each other. So just 1 run coming from the over so far, and that 1 run has been the result of that last delivery, which was a leg by. That brings Tejas back on strike. In the air, catchable. Is anybody going to get there? Kyle Phillip coming in. No. Falls in no man's land. Kyle Phillip on the boundary and Elmore Hutchinson at mid-on were the only 2 who would have realistically had a chance of catching that. But as it is, it just falls into no man's land for a very long single. And that brings Sikaram back on strike. This is the last ball, and that extra brought up, or that single rather, brought up the 50. And this is defended in front of the stumps. Well defended. But again, that dot ball means that the required rate continues to climb. At the end of 7, the required rate is 14.31. The score is 50 for 3. Fifty for 3, and this is something you don't see happen very often. It is Abdullah Syed himself who takes the ball and will be bowling off spin from the far end. Abdullah Syed, of course, known primarily as a destructive batter, and you saw some of that in the first innings, scoring 56 from 38. But he's now going to be asked to bowl off spin to attempt to squeeze the life out of the chase from the square drive Panthers. Not very many bowlers you see bowl with the cap on. Obviously, it's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that most bowlers prefer to bowl without headgear. Nothing in the rule books that says you can't. Slower and lofted in the air, but catchable and taken comfortably at long on. This is all becoming very easy for the Bangladeshi Tigers, as unfortunately for the square drive Panthers, Tejas Komati Reddy holds out in the deep to long on. That is the fourth wicket that is down. See on the replay, somebody else who can do nothing wrong today, Abdullah Syed. This ball just lofting down, no power in the shot, and no real danger of anything happening there other than the pretty simple catch taken at long on. So the fourth wicket goes down, and after that little passage of play, the score is 50 for 4. So 50 for 4. The new batter in is Jeremy DeLima. He's a left-handed batter. So there's two left-handed batters at the crease now. Avinav Sikaram, who's been there for 4 deliveries, has yet to get off the mark. And Jeremy DeLima, brand new at the crease. So once again, the odds are slowly going further and further away from anything resembling not even a square drive Panthers victory, but a square drive Panthers effort to make this into a competitive match. As of right now, it's looking like anything but that. It's bowling around the wicket, Abdullah Syed, and spearing it in towards the stumps, just defended, no run. And with each dot ball, with each wicket, with each failure, if you would, by the batters, then the job becomes that much more difficult. No runs scored yet in this over, with only 2 balls remaining. Abdullah Syed doing what you want him to do in this position. Appeal for an LBW, but immediately shaking his head is Jermaine Lindo. Oh, you yorked him. Oh, completely missed that. Oh, my apologies. I missed the fact that the stumps were knocked back. We're looking at the replay here. Umpire shaking his head to say not out LBW. Oh, I see exactly what happened. He toppled over, falling forward. Should have stayed grounded in his crease. Here, looking at the replay again. Tossed up, goes for the big drive, misses it, but then falls forward. Look here. Goes, in fact, it didn't fall forward. He went running. Not exactly sure why he did that. Went running down the wicket, and very alert work by the keeper to notice that he was running down the wicket for some reason, and immediately flashing those bails off. So yet another wicket goes down in a very curious way. You're not going to see that happen very often. And another left-hander is in. Get the name of the left-hander soon. And this is a swipe and a miss outside off stump. So double wicket maiden in his first over by Abdullah Syed. This is not easy, but he made it look really very easy. What a brilliant piece of bowling by the big hitting opening bat. Score is 50 for 5. We'll be right back. More spin on offer. This is Ridwan Palash. Half the side is down for the square drive Panthers. Oh, what a great delivery from around the wicket, slanting into Avinav Sikaram and leaving him, left him fishing for that one. So starting a dot ball to start things here in the seventh, or in the ninth rather. Outside off.
27 ball 100 world record. Shayan Jahangir. 10 over 199. 10 over they chased down 199. 10 over 199.
Just got the word as we see Avinav Sikaram finally get off the mark, places one into the covers, and he gets a single. Just got word that Shayan Jahangir from the UMMC Knight Riders again in our part of the country in Houston just scored 127 balls. And the Knight Riders are 199 in 10 overs.
Stallion X, not Knight Rider.
What did I say?
Stallion X.
Stallion X. You don't see Stallions. Next delivery. You know, Mr. Mangesh Chowder, if you're going to be doing all that talking, you should grab these headphones and get on the air with me.
I can't speak.
Wow, 52 for 5 with 2 balls remaining here in the ninth. Both batters are on 1. Sikaram lofting it. It goes over the head of the fielder, backward point, and they'll get a couple. So you'll take all these runs if you're young Abhinav Sikaram. Just having runs against your name is always a good thing. And last ball coming up here in the ninth. Oh, thick outside edge, flies past slip, running down the hill. It'll get close to the boundary, and it's pulled back. Good work. Do they want 3? No, they just settle for 2. So a productive over from the standpoint of Abhinav Sikaram getting off the mark, but an over in which the required rate scored 6 runs from the over, which means the required rate now goes up to 16.36. At the end of 9, 56 for 5. $56 for 5. Abdullah Saeed to continue. Oh, bowled 7 deliveries, 7 dot balls, taking 2 wickets. So he's starting the 10th. So, to a large extent, the excitement has been taken out of this match that we're watching. Current score is 57 for 5. The youngsters from the Square Drive Panthers still have another 180 runs to go and a little bit over 10 overs. But I think the most exciting thing that we've seen, certainly today, and possibly for the entire tournament, is the fact that the young man who is now seated to my left apparently just scored 127 balls. Shayan Jahangir, welcome to the commentator's box. Tell me, please, what is it about you that allows you to score 127 balls?
First of all, thank you for this lovely introduction. Just being in this commentary box with you is an honor, you know. It's a privilege. And coming back to my innings, I take huge pride in working hard when no one else is watching. I've been putting a lot of work in. Not being able to get picked in the US 26 squad and not being in the group of players, I took that to my heart and
Hmm.
went in and went to the drawing board. Especially with my wife at home, she really helped me get the perspective right, and she told me to just keep working hard, get your head down, and opportunities will come. And that kind of mindset helped me with minor league. I got a lot of runs there and got that confidence leading into this tournament as well. And just backing myself, backing my abilities, and having fun at the end of the day, because that's why we started playing cricket, right, in the first place. So enjoying the process and just believing in myself has really helped me this year. And also, one more thing, my daughter brought her a lot of good luck.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? I was going to ask you several follow-up questions, but the very last thing that you just said is something that will lead to the first follow-up question. For everyone listening, tell us about your daughter.
Oh, my daughter is the love of my life. She is the center of my life, center of my love. She's everything to me. I love her. I take care of her. I change her diapers. I feed her. Like I'm being a dad at home.
Absolutely.
And that has completely changed the way I look at life and the blessings that we've gotten, and so many opportunities has come just because of my daughter. I say that because girls in general, and that's what I truly believe in, girls really bring a lot of blessings. And I think Dahlia is the name of my daughter. She has brought a lot of blessings, and I can't wait for her to grow up a little bit, understand the game, and come watch daddy do what daddy does.
Outstanding. That makes me smile. I don't have any daughters myself. I have two sons. I think I would be a horrible parent if I had a daughter, because the daughter would get everything that the daughter wanted. But going back to your innings for a second, tell me what that feels like for those of us that look at this, have to mention this is young Abhinav Sikaram, somebody who you know well from in the Houston area, who just lofted that ball over the top of extra cover for 6. That's a good looking shot. But tell me about you and the way that you approach your innings. Let's say you've been there for 3 or 4 deliveries, and you know what? I'm feeling good. The ball is coming onto the bat. At what point do you flip the switch and say, you know what? I'm throwing caution to the wind. Everything is going to go.
It's always so. I've been doing this one thing only, and just watching the ball, reacting to it, and keeping my brain blank in the meantime, right? I don't think too much. I don't have a lot of plans going in. I just know that I've worked a lot. I've hit a lot of balls in the cages, and my body knows when to react and how to react and which way to move. So I trust my body. I trust my movements, and just no planning really. It's just react to the delivery.
So tell me this. You are, needless to say, in tremendous shape. You are physically a lot stronger than you would think. Somebody who is my size, you wouldn't be surprised if they were strong, but you are a very, very strong player, which tells me that there is some weight training involved in your preparation to the game. Tell me about that element of it and how it helps you game.
So weight training has been a part of my life for a long time. I was a very skinny little boy when I was playing under 19s, and I knew that I need a little bit of muscle and a little bit of strength to play against the top athletes of the world. And I've made that a part of my routine every day. Every day I wake up, I go to the gym. I've built a gym in my garage, and I'm always there. Every morning, no matter what's going on in my life, no matter the hardships or the worries or the stresses in the world, I've always gone back to the gym and used that as my therapy. And in the process, I've gotten strong and kind of fitter as well in the same time.
Again, we were talking to Shayan Jahangir, a young man who just scored 127 balls. Another question that I have to ask you, because not only are you a tremendous batter, and you essentially carried the Lone Star Athletics batting this year pretty much single-handedly, but you're also their #1 keeper. In fact, you kept all of the games, if I'm not mistaken. So tell me about the complication of keeping and batting at the same time. What does that mean, and how difficult is that to carry on?
Look, we as professional athletes, this is a part of our job. I mean, me keeping and batting, there's no big deal about it. This is what I do. This is what I love to do, and if I ain't doing my job right, then I'm not doing justice to the talents and to the trust that the franchises have put on me. And at the same time, fitness has a huge role in me keeping my body in shape and keeping my mind intact and doing the things right at my true potential. Keep staying hydrated and eating the right kind of nutrition, everything. There's a lot of things. It's a lifestyle, sports, athletes, the lifestyle that we live. It's completely different to the guys who work 9 to 5. I think they are the ones who are really working hard. We're just doing what we love, and the real heroes are the ones who are sitting behind the desk and doing the job, putting food on the table. We're traveling all over the world, us athletes, and this I think is a blessing. If I don't do it right, if I can't keep 20 overs or 50 overs and bat 50 overs, then I think I shouldn't be playing the sport of cricket.
America has gotten to the stage where there is a pretty high level of cricket being played. You yourself are on one of the franchises in, let's call it, the best state in the country. We'll probably get some pushback from that, but I don't care. What can you tell youngsters who are now starting to watch the game, who are now starting to see people like you and look up to people like you? What can you tell them, first of all, about how to approach the game, and then number two, how to react when when there's anything negative that happens to them in the games?
So, like cricket, I think there's a lot of negativity around the sport in general in the U.S. There's a lot of I don't want to use the word politics, but kind of like that. There's a lot of super talented players who are not getting a chance to come on the field and do what they love to do, and then the people who are outside, they don't really push the kids and talk to them in a positive manner. Talking to a kid and talking to any individual who is down and out, and putting those key words in their mind that, hey, listen, your time is gonna come. Just keep doing your thing. Don't think about anybody else. Don't point fingers at anybody else, because when you point one finger at somebody, you have four fingers pointed at yourself. So so that's the one thing I always tell my guys, our youth in Lone Star Athletics as well, that your time will come. Do not get disheartened. Do not let your brain get fogged up by the negativity around and by the politics around. Just keep doing your thing, and I promise you, hard work will always come through, and you will always get what you deserve.
Words of wisdom, Shayan Jahangir. You are, first of all, I've known you, I don't know, 10 years or something. I've always admired your game. I love to see when good people succeed. Congratulations, you played an excellent innings today, and thank you, most importantly, for all the words that you just said. The best thing that you just said to me is that I heard that your daughter is the light of your life. So you keep playing cricket, you keep taking care of that young lady, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk. Bless. So that was Shayan Jahangir. Just had one guest, and then we're about to have another guest. We're joined here in the commentary box. By the way, let's just caught up on the game that we're watching here. 82 for 5. Abhinav Sikaram, the youngster from Houston, is playing a few shots. He's up to 25 from 20. And Varun, he himself is now up to 7 from 12. But we're joined here by Mr. Sarwar Chowdhury. Mr. Chowdhury, good afternoon. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing sitting here in front of us.
Good afternoon. I am the co-owner of the team, Bangladesh Tigers of USA. Also trying to, in the process of getting the Sylhet Strikers franchise of Bangladesh Premier League. Soon it will be sign contract event will be soon.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully within the next 2 weeks or so, you guys will hear about it more as the time progresses.
Fantastic. So this is if I'm understanding, this is the first time that you've been involved in the Atlanta Open, correct?
Correct. This is the first time. Yes.
Tell me about the reputation of this tournament, and what is it about this tournament that attracted you to it?
Well, it's definitely the establishment, the guys who organize it. Hassan Tarek is a very
Mhm.
good friend of mine, a mentor, excellent personality, loves cricket, diehard fan.
We've
Uh,
noticed.
Yeah. And to support him, I would do that in a heartbeat at any moment.
Fantastic. So, as someone who is the owner of a team, you're not only charged with getting talent for the team, and everybody wants to see talent, and everybody wants their team to be able to be talented enough to win. But there's also a limitation because there's financial implications also. And so, tell me a little bit about the approach that you have balancing those two objectives, where you want to be as responsible as possible financially, but you want to see the best talent on the team. How do you approach that?
We, as a cricketing nation, it's very early stage,
Mhm.
and it's very challenging,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. Every team owner that I know are struggling with sponsorship and stuff like that. So, majority of us that I know are doing it out of their pocket, and that
Mm.
is the way it's going to be for another few years, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
until there is a major event, either it's a World Cup or Major League, whatever comes in, and from that moment on, I feel like there is a real change coming, hopefully.
So, everything that I've seen about Bangladeshi players, and that is at the highest level, and that's also at our local level. I live in Texas, so there's a few of our
Yeah.
players there also. The number one thing that comes to mind is the passion for the game. I can tell you just looking at, this game is not quite as competitive anymore. So there's only 53 people watching now, but I guarantee you that that's the highest number of people watching of any of the streams that we have
Really?
going right now,
Oh, wow.
without question.
Wow.
So tell me a little bit about the passion of the Bangladeshi players and how that filters into the rest of the team and how the team performs.
I'll tell you what. After India, I feel like it's a fair statement to make
Mhm.
that Bangladeshi cricket fans are the craziest, and they
I think there would be some people that would argue that you have that order wrong.
yeah. They're very passionate.
Sure.
Whether the team is failing them over and over, but
Mhm.
they're still behind them. So we, as a cricketing nation, we have the genuine love for the game, and that's the proof.
Well, I'm from Jamaica originally.
Right.
I grew up playing cricket in the streets. We used a piece of coconut branch for a ball. We used for a bat. We used an orange that we picked off the tree for a ball. So I didn't actually own proper equipment until I came to this country. Tell me a little bit about the kids playing cricket in Bangladesh. What does that look like?
Very similar. I'll tell
Okay.
you that. Yeah, very similar. There are villages outside of the towns where like they're very still at very underdeveloped, right?
Mhm.
And there are kids who just make a bat out of the wood they found in the
Sure.
so and that orange you're talking about.
It has to be a green orange though. If you pick a right one, it bursts the first shot you play.
And the majority players are from even professional player like Mustafizur Rahman
Mhm.
came from a village where they used to play with the tennis ball,
Ah.
right? So there is a culture of tape tennis and
Mhm.
tennis ball cricket.
Mhm.
That's where the improvement is coming. Small by small, but yeah.
That's interesting. Now, going back to the big leagues for a second, tell me a little bit about the franchise that you're attempting to acquire in Bangladesh. What is it going to take for that to be a success? And then what do you hope to accomplish with it?
Well, I'll tell you what. My target is to help Bangladesh cricket in general.
Mhm.
the state Sylhet team is that's where I was born, so I'm emotionally attached to it.
Sure.
Obviously,
Sure.
and if I'm given the opportunity, my target will be ultimately help that division or that state to produce some talent, and some talent, if they can be a part of my team and also be part of national team, that will be my success, and that's my vision.
What would that mean to you to be the owner of the team that represents the state in which you were born?
Absolutely amazing. It's an amazing feeling that I never thought of I could have done it, but awesome feeling, definitely.
That's tremendous. So did you play yourself?
I did, but not in a professional level, obviously. I moved to the state at age of 15. So that was my prime time back home. I was
Sure.
in high school,
Sure.
trying to make it there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Bangladesh actually became a test playing nation. So it was just a dream, for all of us at that age level to become a player. But I was unfortunate. I had to move here with my family, so that dream was over as soon as we moved here. But I got back to cricket very quickly. I found cricket again in 2004 in New York, and played there a few years.
So that tells me two things. Number one, you're a much younger man than I am. And then number two, your story sounds very similar to mine. I moved here when I was 14.
Yeah.
So my cricket career stopped at age 14 and didn't start again until age 30 or something
wow.
when I found the game in Houston.
Amazing.
But tell me about what is the vision? Yes, you want to be able to be the owner of a franchise that represents your state, and that in and of itself speaks wonders. But then the next part of the vision, is there something, for example, about bringing in youngsters to be able to interact with the team, having some outreach into the community to let the team be more involved in that type of environment? Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. There are plenty of planning happening at this moment. I'll happy to announce that we signed Mashrafi bin Murtaza, our ex-national captain, and he will represent us as a captain. He's our
Fantastic.
icon player. And him by himself is a brand. Anywhere he goes,
Oh,
there,
sure.
millions of them
Sure.
follows him, and
Sure.
he's a great icon for a lot of young kids. So we do have some plan. I don't want to tell you all of that, but you'll get to hear what it was soon.
Yep. Well, let me ask you this also. This is good. I guarantee. Okay, this is. I do not mean this as being disrespectful to the
No.
game that we're watching right now, but
Yeah.
this information that we're getting from you is extremely powerful because it speaks to the passion of cricket in the country that you're from, and it also helps me understand some areas that are in some ways very different from where I'm from, but in other ways very similar.
Yeah.
So tell me about what is success look like? How do you define success as you go on this path?
I'm new to it, obviously, but the success is probably we're gonna have to wait for it
Okay.
to determine if we are going to be successful or not. I mean, just getting that chance is a big enough success for me. I'll take that at any given day.
Sure.
But actual success will be if we can really help to grow any player and produce something exceptional. That will be a huge success for us. So time will tell.
That is tremendous. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is obviously there's men's cricket and then there's women's cricket. Is there such a thing as franchise women's cricket in Bangladesh? And if there's not, what would it take to have that be a reality?
Southeast Asia in general, we are not as advanced as the Western countries like here in USA or England or Australia is. So it will take much longer than it will take here to develop any game, women game especially. But there is a start. Now we have Asia Cup. Now we have Women World Cup. Actually, that is happening in Bangladesh at the moment. Asia Cup, Women Asia Cup.
Right.
And I feel like we are at the right path, but we need more support for women team to have a tournament like BPL or an IPL, that sort.
Right.
Because there is a great talent, and I'm sure we need to be equal in our part in life.
Right.
They deserve to be the best.
Fantastic.
I'm a father of 2 daughters, so you can tell.
Okay, so the young man I was just talking to, Mr. Shayan Jahangir, he just scored 127
Yes,
balls in the
yes.
next field.
Yeah.
He just told me that the best thing about his life is his daughter. I have no daughters, I have 2 sons, but it is such an important part of development and of maturity to be able to know that you're molding the life of a young person. And the fact that these are 2 young, beautiful ladies that you're growing into adulthood, that speaks wonders about the person that you are.
Thank you.
Mr. Sawar Chowdhury,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much.
Thank
it's
you
a
very
pleasure
much. Thank you
talking
for
to
having
you.
me.
Absolutely. Welcome to Atlanta and best of luck.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right, thanks. So we have had 2 really good conversations, unexpected but wonderful in essence. Mr. Sawar Chowdhury, who is the part owner of the the Bangladeshi Tigers, and then also looking to establish ownership of the franchise back in Bangladesh, which is very, very impressive. Now, this is Abhinav Sikaram, who finally, after a really good innings, he's been scoring some runs while we were gone, but he finally holds out in the deep. Abhinav Sikaram, 38 from 28. The 7th wicket goes down. The young man from Houston tried his best, but the hill was just too steep to climb. Another wicket falls, and we happen to be joined back in the commentary area after he took a break for a while by Nikhil Uttamchandani. Nikhil, welcome back to the Atlanta Cricket Grounds.
Well, just so that the viewers know, it was not a break, Brian. It's education. So it's all about balance,
Listen, you're preaching to the choir. I know exactly what you mean. That's why I was late getting here, because the actual day job called.
4 overs remain, and really and truly, this one all but over. And the Bangladesh Tigers, who picked up a win yesterday on the verge of what would be their 2nd victory, and definitely outplaying, just outclassing really this square drive side. Just way more filled with those more experienced players, more skilled players, you could say. I think that innings by Elmore Hutchinson just took the game completely away.
I was going to ask you about that because I know the student of the game that you are, even though you were not physically here, you would have been paying attention to that anyway. What did you think about that? 52 from 17 balls. Just absolutely tremendous ball striking towards the end, and then turns right around and opens the bowling in the 1st over and takes a wicket.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, really. And to see the way that Torhidil has bowled, actually very similar action to Shakib Al Hassan, which is quite ironic given that this is, of course, the Bangladesh Tigers, a team that Shakib Al Hassan plays for in the international setup. Found that to be pretty ironic.
Well, there is a plethora of left-handers towards the back end of this innings for the square drive Panthers. They're young, they're learning, but I think they ran into a buzzsaw yesterday as well as today.
Yeah, probably will put them out of the tournament as well. Anytime you lose 2 games out of 3, you really and truly will be eliminated, so could be the end for them.
In fact, that brings to mind another question. You're clearly out of the game at this point. You need to score, at this point, 34, 35 runs and over to win, so you're not going to win. What would you be trying to accomplish? Knowing that you're out of the tournament effectively, what would you be trying to accomplish towards the back end of this match?
I still think you want to try to score and keep scoring, and that's not really what the square drive has done. Look at here, Patel 13 from 11, so he's tried to get a move on, but hasn't really found the boundary. And from the time the top order struggled, it was always going to be tough chasing in excess of that 230 mark. But the second day that the Bangladesh Tigers have proven that they can get big totals, so one to watch. And I think the first place will come down to tomorrow's matchup, the Tigers taking on the Atlanta Fire.
Oh my goodness. That is a very delicious matchup. I can tell you that just a tremendous amount of energy and excitement around this field. And when we get to the business end of the tournament, these matchups toward the back end are going to be really, really interesting to follow.
Yeah, tomorrow the Fire taking on the Tigers, but also some exciting matchups as well. The Panthers up against the Stallions. They're unbeaten. The Atlanta Panthers run out.
Well, it's just a matter of what the final margin of victory is going to be. Didn't expect to see a run out, but you know, there was not much commitment to that run. It was almost a half-hearted attempt at a run, and they didn't really sprint like you wanted to see. Looking at the replay here, just I think a little bit too casual. You could potentially make the argument, and there's that start-stop. The start-stop effectively is what did it.
You got the stutter in the middle there. That would have costed him his wicket. So in the end,
right there. Yeah, that hesitation definitely would have done it. Throw comes in, and then he's jogging towards the end, not really sliding his bat in time either. So all sorts of things wrong with that last passage of play, and it results in the 8th wicket going down.
Yeah, the breeze really picking up here at the Atlanta Cricket Fields, and really this one done and dusted, you could say, with just 2 wickets needing to be taken by the Tigers. As it brings Bhushan to the middle. How much have you enjoyed the way that this Tigers side, second day in a row where they've been able to post in excess and well in excess of 200, 252 yesterday, 232 today? What is their batting line doing well?
I think their batting lineup follows a formula. The formula is explosive start at the top, accumulate runs in the middle, and then explode again towards the back end with Elmore Hutchinson. And that formula they followed to the T. And I guess some of it also was, let's call it indifferent bowling by the Square Drive Panthers. Not every single one of the deliveries was where they wanted it to be, and there were too many boundary balls. There were some good balls sprinkled in, but there were too many hit-me balls going down the leg side, long hops, full tosses. And so if much of what Bangladesh did was in response to bad bowling, but take nothing away from them. You still have to put the balls away. And so I think very much the case that this team is a really stacked team. I'd love to see how much they're challenged when they have to bowl a full complement of overs, because you get the sense that their strike bowlers have essentially been resting since the 6th over. Essentially, we've been having spinners and part-timers bowling for the last half of this match or so. So it'll be interesting to see when they're pushed to the limit. There's no question that the batting is what it needs to be. It'll be interesting to see how good the bowling is also.
Also begs the question in terms of how they'll fare against a very powerful Atlanta Fire batting lineup, who have some questions. You saw them earlier today, do very well. But tomorrow on field number 1, we've got 2 exciting games coming for you. First of all, in the morning, the Panthers up against the Stallions. Then the Florida Scorpions taking on the Raiders. So some enticing battles coming your way. And then, of course, on Saturday, we've got the quarterfinals and semifinal matchups.
Wow. Absolutely exciting.
This will be runs because just too short. Probably gets away with it in the end. Emerald?
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was referring to earlier. So Elmore Hutchinson bowled a couple overs up front. Kyle Phillip, who is lightning quick, I've seen him bowl before. He looked even quicker than normal today. But I think if they're challenged and they have to bowl their full complement of overs, it'll be interesting to see how well they do, coming back for a second spell, for example. But, you know, when Abdul Syed takes the ball and his first over, he gets a double wicket maiden, well, it kind of tells you how the day has gone so far.
And the wickets continue. The wickets continue to fall. Goes Yorker this time, Emerald, and just hits the stump. Simple, you miss, I hit. And gets the 9th now for the Tigers, just one away from what will be an emphatic victory. And they will remain unbeaten in this tournament. Only a few teams to do so. The Fire are one in this group, and now, of course, the Tigers just 1 wicket away as the last man walks to the middle.
Oh, that was tossed up beautifully, wasn't it? Right up there in the block hole. Looking at the replay, just enticing the batter to come forward. Here we see the replay again. From around the wicket, tossed up and looking for that big booming drive and playing all over it. Yorker length delivery, probably pitching on the popping crease. And the leg stump gets knocked back. So this is the last pair at the wicket. This is Vinit joining Vivekanand rather. It's just, as they say, it's all over bar the shouting. That is the last delivery of the 18th over. 115 for 9. So again, just 1 wicket or 12 deliveries, whichever comes first. And we'll be done and dusted here. Speaking of dusted, these cars driving around on the western side of the ground, kicking up a fair amount of dust blowing across the field.
It also speaks to the wind. It's a very strong
Yes.
breeze that, especially on ground number 1, has been something you need to contend with. Taking it into account, we saw Aaron Jones today make use of it by actually lifting the ball eerily into this area.
Well, the first 6 that Elmore Hutchinson hit, there was a very stiff wind coming from this end, and he was batting at this end. And he lofted the ball. The first time it landed was probably 100 meters that way. It was a tremendous strike. It speaks to Elmore Hutchinson's power, but it also speaks to how strong the wind was blowing. It's not a good day to be a bowler with your back to the wind.
Just 1 wicket to get for the Tigers, and really and truly very close to a victory. The Bangladesh Tigers. Another wide though, not great at this stage. Just need to get it over with at this stage, the Tigers.
Yes.
They're still in the sun, spending that time. They have quick turnaround tomorrow afternoon, again in action against the Atlanta Fire.
Wow, it's going to be an interesting matchup. Truly interesting matchup. Whoa. It's an even bigger wide this time. Well,
Elmore. Just 1 wicket to get. Well, definitely, if you're now joining us or joined us late, a successful day number 2 of this Atlanta Open. It's the 2nd edition, Brian Walters. We had one the first last year, which was won by the Atlanta Lightning, a team that currently sit top of their group. And now we've got even higher quality teams, which we didn't think was possible. Seen influx of internationals in this league. And, of course, only one team can be successful. $75,000 is the prize money, so a lot of chances to really be successful. Another wide signal, and not sure what the plan is here because you're well on top. You're going to win this game easily. Just want to get through the overs. He's bowling extra deliveries here and just not sure the thinking.
even if you bowl a ball that is right in the slot that gets hit for 6, at this point, the idea is just to get the game over with. You're not going to lose if you don't bowl extras.
And you have those two fielders on the boundary in front of square at long on and long off. You don't mind just tossing one up and asking these lower order batters who are probably looking to get a move on, you don't mind them asking to take on the bigger boundary. So not really sure of the plan and thinking from the Tigers. Goes short and it will just land safely, so extra cover wasn't able to quite get there.
Wow. Well, this is a very anticlimactic ending to this match. All of the drama, I think, was out of it essentially at the start of the second innings. And so there's not much doubt as to what's going to happen here. It's just, and this is lofted. Elmore Hutchinson taking a look. I think he'll take this easily. The big man completes the catch, and that is the end of the match. 121 all out, and that is the end of a pretty emphatic victory for the Bangladeshi Tigers, Nikhil.
Yeah, dominance for the Tigers. Currently at top of the group, along with the Atlanta Fire, and they've day after day just seem to be very strategic about their approach to things, and now definitely will have one foot in that quarterfinal. So basically this group done and dusted, because you've got the Fire who've won 2 and you have the Tigers also who've won 2. Both you expect to be in Saturday's quarterfinal, but an easy win after a small start from Yashwant Balaji, nothing else of real substance, and of course 38 from Abhinav Shikaram, but it wasn't enough. The bowlers, well, all in the wickets, and Abdullah Saeed first with the bat in hand, and now 3 wickets for 17 runs. It's been a real good day at the office for the Bangladesh Tigers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us throughout this day number 2 of this Atlanta Open. We look forward to seeing you bright and early tomorrow for day 3, a very important one, mind you, as teams look to qualify for Saturday's quarterfinal. It's bye for now.